Blizzard's back in the news again.
We love talking about Blizzard.
Blizzard is never in the news for the right reason.
No, they haven't been.
There was a little bit of a Diablo Immortal thing.
I heard about that. I heard about that happening.
That upset a lot of people.
Upset a lot of people.
There was the Hong Kong protest stuff with Blitzchung.
Yes.
That was bad.
That was bad PR.
That upset a lot of people. Overwatch 2. Well, Overwatch 2, we'll see. But not a lot of people have been buzzing about it.
What was the thing with Overwatch 2?
It doesn't really look like a full sequel. It looks
kind of add-on.
Looks sort of like an expansion pack at this point. Great game, but yeah, it didn't fire people up as much.
Maybe they thought it didn't need a full sequel. Maybe.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, it might not. I personally failed to see why when other games that they've done like what's the Blizzard one, Heroes of the well no that's done. They stopped.
Heroes of the Storm, the Dota they tried.
Or Dota 2.
The MOBA they tried. The MOBA they tried.
Anyways,
yeah.
I felt like that's a game that probably could have just kept being updated without needing a sequel.
Sure.
But I think they're trying, but I think they're starting to see a little bit of the fire burn out with Overwatch, and I think they thought maybe that launching a sequel would get people excited again, but it looks like it's just going to be like, here's more Overwatch all at once instead of a trickle of
Overwatch
updates.
has been out for 3.5 years, a little over 3.5 years. So it's I'll just say this before we get into the topic. It's always precarious when you're doing sequels to first-person shooters because you can really screw up the balance easily. A good first-person shooter is really tough to do, especially for multiplayer.
Sure.
So you got to be really careful. The Unreal games bounce back and forth between people loving and hating. Like, people hated Unreal Tournament 2003. It's not even talked about in the series because they quickly skipped it and went to 2004. They hate it. And then 2007 is not played by anyone. People hated it, and that was the last one. So you gotta be really careful when you redesign your game. Sorry.
No. Makes sense. So, however, Diablo 4 looks pretty good, and They're making a Diablo 4?
Yes.
Wow. Imagine. And I was interested in the remaster of Diablo 2. I was until Warcraft III Reforged came out. So Warcraft III Reforged was to be a remaster of Warcraft 3 with some new models. They were going to redo some cutscenes, redo the interface. Basically, they were gonna remake it, make it look fresher,
new coat of paint,
spruce up some things.
Because the game's like 17 years old, something like that.
I don't even know. It's got
Warcraft 3 came out.
2003, 2004, maybe.
I'll tell you in a second. Go on.
So, anyways, this Forbes article.
2002.
Okay. So the game came out and people are not happy at all. And here are some of the problems that people are complaining about. Blizzard promised better cutscenes with improved graphics. But what they showed back even as far back as 2018 is not what was in the final game. Numerous bugs, crashes, hangups, assets not loading, many other problems. Many users have been experiencing login and connectivity issues. Now that this is, I'm going to save this one. This is a bigger one. Some basic features of the original are no longer in the remaster. That always is something that's very strange.
Okay.
So
what's
this
missing?
includes automated tournaments, clans, profiles, competitive ladder, and more. That seems like some pretty basic shit to not have in there. And then people are upset about this. The new user agreement includes language that essentially copyrights all user-created custom games, giving Blizzard complete control over all user-generated content. This is, again, from the Forbes article. The implications of this are pretty huge, but essentially it's an attempt by Blizzard to never let another Dota 2 situation happen again. It's also deeply misguided. Blah, 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 blah. Questions about whether it's actually legally binding. This one is one that I think this was a bad idea. Reforged and the original game are on the same online infrastructure, so all those connectivity issues that people are having with the new one are now affecting the old game backwards. So they broke what wasn't.
Oh no!
Yes.
Why would you do that?
They broke the old game. There was no reason for them to break that.
So I've been playing Warcraft 3 online for 18 years, and one day all of a sudden I can't play my multiplayer because of a new remastered version that comes out. Oh no. Unless they were thinking of maybe incorporating people playing against each other in the different versions. Why would you do that?
So, apparently people were saying that it was tough to get refunds initially. However, Luke Plunkett at Kotaku said last night, 7 p.m., headline, Warcraft 3's remaster is so unpopular, Blizzard is offering instant refunds. Normally, refunds have to go through a process of actually finding out what was wrong with your purchase and won't apply if you've had the game for a while and been playing it. And in this case, though, demand has clearly been so great, and there's growing calls for legal action, because huge discrepancy between what was promised and delivered that players are reporting instant successes with their refund applications. So it looks like Blizzard is just handing them out.
Blizzard, what are you doing?
This should have been a surefire hit for Blizzard. Like, it seems like it would be hard to fuck up something like this, but they did, and now something that should be a license to print money, like the remaster of Diablo 2, is like all enthusiasm and all excitement I had for that is
you might as well
gone.
You might as well shelve this and just develop a Warcraft 4 then. You might as well just say this is a failure, start from scratch from some of the work and just do a Warcraft 4. I'm surprised we haven't had a Warcraft 4 after 18 years.
Oh, and apparently, this article says that this is the default version with players unable to officially go back and play the game as it used to be. I was reading something else where it's a toggle switch now. But either way, it's...
I think it's, well, I don't know. Were people clamoring for a remastered Warcraft? I mean, I always loved the Warcraft graphic style to begin with because it's, I just don't. When I think of a real, real-time strategy game, I never just think, well, I want to see that remastered. You know what I mean? Because like how much you're getting out of it when you're looking from above. I did see on this though that you can like zoom in on the units and get real close, which is cool. But again, on a real-time strategy game, you don't get much use out of that in terms of controlling units if you're zooming in on individual people. Right. Well,
that's one of the only positive things I've heard about this version is that the graphics are nicer.
Yeah.
But since you want to play the game zoomed out almost as far as possible, that the graphic upgrades are basically unnoticeable.
That's what I mean. So I saw comparison shots of like the overhead views of like the grass, the buildings, and you put a gun to my head. I don't know if I could tell you which one I preferred when I saw both. Just real quickly, just like okay, sure. They both looked fine. I mean, you're talking about graphics of like like the barracks and like the town centers and things like that. I don't know I'm personally how much am I getting out of that seeing that remastered, because I always loved the sort of cartoony style of like the Warcraft games.
Well, remastered doesn't mean it's not going to be that cartoony style.
It's just going to be a higher res.
It's just going to be a higher res. Yeah, I mean they can touch things up here and there, but they're not going to change. I mean, they're making better models, but I don't think they changed the style of anything. It's just...
I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I have to look at more comparisons. What I saw, I could see the difference, but I'm just like, okay, the grass looks more realistic the way it's drawn. I don't know. That's just me,
So that's really all I have to say on that. It like I said, it takes the wind right out of my sails for
were the cutscenes not changed?
Not much, but I guess they initially said that they were going to be, and then they said they weren't going to be that changed, and people aren't happy with them.
Okay. I mean, I guess...
a lot of this stuff can be to taste. You can look and be like, okay, are the cutscenes better or worse? Do I like the new models better or less? Do I like the graphical upgrades? But things like breaking the old game.
Okay, so the cutscenes, that would make sense if you're using the models and you have to zoom in for the cutscenes and looking at it with the in-game engine. I'm guessing then that would make sense that you want to update that. Yeah. But, okay. This is not good. Obviously, I don't know how these things keep happening with Blizzard. I just don't.
No,
I just don't know. Like someone has to get fired over stuff like this. Then the other thing I saw was that almost all the dialogue was like the same. All the sounds like they really didn't change.
Yeah, they
much.
said they were going to. I think what they promised was a lot more, and they just delivered a lot.
They're like, we don't fucking care.
Right.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
Not especially not in today's day and age where people are tracking every single thing you announce and say.
You got to come out and say, hey, We'll add it later. We'll still want to come out. You can't just not say anything.
You need to stop saying you're going to add it later too, and just have it at
No, but I'm
go.
saying at least you can say. At least you let them know that it's not going to be in the launch. This is not saying anything.
Right.
You got to communicate something to people if they're going to do more. Okay, there were plans to record more dialogue and tweak the game's single player campaigns. Okay, they didn't. I guess they didn't do that either. All right. Okay, this is a disaster. So, what do we always say, Ian? Vote with your wallet.
Yes.
Don't buy it.
And it looks like people aren't.
So there you go, and get your money back.
Refunds.